Welcome to SOS Media, your number one source of the latest news, opinions, and in-depth investigations that dig deeper into today's developing stories around the globe. In this second part of our story, let's us boldly deep dive into the reason why surviving R. Kelly editors hanged up their towels and quit their job prematurely. After weeks of viewing sensitive and disturbing footage of the alleged survivors telling their stories and extremely concerned about the direction of the high-stakes series, the core post-production team resisted these particular changes. They voiced their opinion that in total, the proposed edits would center the alleged offender and his talents instead of the alleged survivors' stories. They also reasoned that the changes would sensationalize the show with true crime storytelling devices, disregard its black audience with extra context on icons like R. Kelly and Aaliyah, and subsequently be insensitive to survivors and the black community. The editing team wanted to meet with Carlsberg themselves to discuss the notes, but multiple subsequent meetings about the notes occurred without them, several sources close to the production revealed. Carlsberg instead worked on the notes primarily with the show's white supervising story producer Lauren Feldman and Carly, who also is white. A representative for Bunham Murray called Carlsberg's collaboration with people in these two positions as a standard industry workflow. To the editors, it seemed as if their culturally specific concerns were being overridden, and that they weren't even given the chance to sit down with the team and be heard. Members of this particular team were accustomed to attending such notes meetings with executive producers on other projects, and were particularly astonished that as a nearly all-black editing team this time they weren't invited to join. Lifetime executive producer Bryant insists that the notes on the internal cut reflected both her and Carlsberg's opinions and therefore included a black American perspective. Bryant sent her own set of notes to the post-production team later, and they also called for more career context on R. Kelly, and a different approach to Aaliyah, which requests were included to make the show accessible to a wide audience. A Lifetime source believes that a request in the first set of notes to implement fewer cuts between survivors is misconstrued. "We wanted each alleged survivor to have their moment," adds the source, noting that the show extended its order over the course of production. After the series of meetings about the notes concluded without them, the editors implemented some notes but still were asked to make other changes the group felt didn't do justice to the alleged survivors on screen. And so, disagreeing with the vision for the show described in the notes, which they felt was opposed to how the show originally was sold to them, and feeling shut out of creative discussions and therefore tokenized, they took a major step. One Friday in June, 4 out of 5 editors and an assistant story editor, Edith Diaz-Mendez, told Human Resources that they were resigning. The editors added that they wished to be removed from the show's credits after assuming that the end product would not include their work. The next week, Carly and the final editor remaining Griffin also resigned. Feldman was laid off the following Monday after she had attended multiple creative meetings, following the editor departures, and handed in her story outlines. "I started in April and then stayed on pretty much as long as everybody else and a week longer, and then I was let go," Feldman said in a statement. Network and production company sources claim the show's leaders were surprised by the mass resignation of the team. Editors who are freelancers and live gig to gig often fear being labeled difficult and therefore rendered less employable. It would make sense if they had quit individually over creative differences, but it was unheard of to do so as a group. Days after the bulk of the editors walked off the show, Bunham Murray made a conciliatory gesture. Chief Executive Officer Gil Goldstein met with the departing editors and Carly and asked them to voice their concerns with the project, and Bryant also later spoke with them. Once Surviving R. Kelly had premiered, an email penned by a Bunham Murray executive reminded them of the non-disclosure agreements they had signed for the project. A representative for Bunham Murray says the email was sent to everyone involved in the show in response to a story leak on social media. "We can now all guess what they were trying to hide." After concerned parties began making inquiries about the editors not being credited on the show's Peabody Awards page, the editors' names were instated on the awards site. A network representative says that their exclusion resulted from Lifetime submitting the initial credits it was provided for the show, before the editors asked for credit back to the Peabody Awards in January 2020, more than a year after the show premiered. In her own statement, Hampton took a stand for the editors. "The worst part about thinking about these larger issues like sidelining black editors on a project this sensitive, is that it's doubtful the people who need to will take an honest look at this. Instead, They focus on personality problems and hierarchical protocols rather than the real issues. People will rush to defend themselves and change the optics rather than the way they work and do business, Hampton said. When reached out to, several members of the first post-production team emphasized that they could not talk in detail about the production because of the non-disclosure agreements. However, several gave statements. Some expressed disappointment with how their creative input was received. "I'm risking my whole career by even giving you a quote," editor Philo said. "The thing that has been missed across the board is nuance. When dealing with race-specific topics there is so much nuance and sensitivity that is needed on shows like this," she added. If the world worked as it should, there would never have been a Surviving R. Kelly, the documentary series detailing nearly 3 decades of alleged abuse, much of it against minors, and almost entirely against young African American women. By the time the series produced by the activist Dream Hampton aired on Lifetime in January 2019, the allegations against R. Kelly had long been public and being handled, but it took a 6-hour television event to do multiple public lawsuits. It is very interesting to note that after the interviews, Dream Hampton publicly revealed that all the alleged accusers did not actually want R. Kelly to end up in prison. One would imagine that with all that was portrayed in the docuseries, at least a number of them would have suggested his imprisonment. We can't actually tell what the script was, but I think we would get satisfaction if Lifetime released the original non-edited interviews of these alleged victims. It is also disturbing to know that the company Bun & Murray, well known for reality shows, which we all know are never that real, was contracted to handle such a sensitive issue that involves someone's reputation and livelihood. We should also not forget the narrative that it has time and again been told that Jay-Z was the major funder of this project. Knowing that there has been bad blood flowing between him and R. Kelly, we can't overlook the possible intentions he had in doing so. The American justice system has also been put to test. I don't think the American community appreciates the fact that its citizens can be incarcerated basing on films and documentaries as evidence of wrongdoing. As R. Kelly prepares for his upcoming appeal court argument, let us as usual rally together in support and optimism. R. Kelly has demonstrated exceptional dedication and an unwavering commitment to justice. It is in times like these that our encouragement can make a significant impact. Our positive energy and support can be a source of inspiration, providing R. Kelly through attorney Bonjean with the confidence needed to present a compelling argument before the court. Let's stand united behind him, remaining optimistic about a favorable outcome. The journey ahead may seem to be challenging, but the combined strength of Bonjean's capabilities and the supportive community around R. Kelly ensures that we all face this endeavor with resilience and determination. As we eagerly await the outcome, let us remember that the power of collective optimism is a force that transcends challenges and can ultimately contribute to a positive outcome. We want R. Kelly free sooner than later. Thank you for watching today's video brought to you by SOS Media. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our videos. Also remember to leave your comment about today's topic in the comment section below.